Hello students, welcome to my channel The Biology. In today's video, we'll be starting a new chapter, that is chapter number 6, Plant Anatomy, which you'll be able to see in your 11th NCERT of Biology. What is plant anatomy? So in the previous chapter, that is plant morphology, we studied just the external structure of the plant. Now we are going to see what the internal structure of the plant is. Means what are the different tissues which are forming the complete body of the plant. Let's say if we talk about the humans, those who have already completed their 11th, they know that the animals are having different types of tissues, and those who are in 11th, they will learn in this 11th itself the different types of tissues. Like we have the connective tissue, that is blood. Then we have bones as a tissue, we have the cartilaginous tissues, then we have the epidermal tissues, and so many kinds of tissues are together forming our body. Means in case of animals, same way in case of plants also, different types of tissues are forming the complete plant. I'll show you the complete sequence starting with the cell to the plant, that how the cells are forming in different stages a complete plant. The study of this internal structure is known as anatomy. Since we'll be studying the internal structure of the plant, we call it as plant anatomy. Usually when we are studying internal structure, we take the transverse sections. So in this chapter, remember, wherever the diagrams of the internal sections are given, they are definitely the transverse sections. If you talk about the xylems and phloems, then they can be the vertical sections also, that is the longitudinal sections, but normally if you will see the stem roots sections, then they are the transverse sections. So in today's video, means in this video, we'll be just having the basic knowledge of plant anatomy, because if the base is clear, then half work is done. So I'll tell you what in this video, I'll tell you about how a plant is formed, starting with the cell. Then we'll talk about those different stages which are forming a complete plant. And from those only we are going to study in detail in the upcoming videos. So to get notified for my upcoming videos too, you'll have to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get the notifications. And it's a request to you that if you like this video, then please like the video and do share your views in the comment section also. So without taking any more time, I'll be starting with the plant anatomy introduction for you. Okay, so guys, as I told you, what is this plant anatomy? Because we have to keep the definitions in mind, means because if they ask us for the theoretical exams, means for your board exams also, if they ask you to write the definitions, you won't have to learn the definitions, just understand the meaning of the words, you can easily write the definitions. So what is plant anatomy? Anatomy means internal structure. Internal structure study. And if the internal structure is studied for the plants, we call it as plant anatomy. Very easy, right? Now, coming to the structure formation. As I told you, the plant bodies is formed at different levels. Means what? We know that all the organisms are basically made up of cell. So let me tell you that cell is the basic unit of life. Yes. Cell will be forming all the living organisms, whether they are unicellular, multicellular, eukaryotic or prokaryotic. Now, these cells will form the tissues. The cells are going to form another structure, or another, we can say, the grouping. I'll tell you what the tissues are, or how you can actually define the tissues. Cells are forming the tissues. Now, what you need to remember about the tissues is that the tissues are groups of cells. They are the group of cells. Now, these cells, remember, these cells can be similar or dissimilar in the shape. Means they are group of cells, The cells can be similar or dissimilar shape. Remember this point, dissimilar shape. Whose shape we are talking? We are talking about the shape of cell. Now, another point about the tissues is that the cells, all these cells, whether they have the same shape or not, they must be arising from the common origin. Means they should be homologous. Clear? So next point is common origin. Common origin. Clear? This is one important point, that the tissues consist. Tissue is an aggregation of cells which can be similar or dissimilar in shape, but they are having a common origin. Usually they have same function, but they can have different functions also. For example, we'll see this tissue, like the tissue systems and the different types of tissues also, the permanent tissues, complex permanent tissues to be more exact, that is xylem and phloem. Then I'll tell you that a number of cells are involved forming a single type of complex permanent tissue. So we're not discussing this complex permanent tissue in today's video, we'll just complete till the meristematic part, but in the upcoming videos we'll definitely talk about them also, as they are one important topic. Clear? So these are the characteristics of tissues or the cells which are forming the tissues. The last one which I told you was what? The last one I told you was usually common function. Now if I've used the word usually, means they can have different functions also, usually common function. You will be able to relate when we will study the complex permanent tissues, that where they are having different functions, where they are having different shapes. Of course, they have same origin because the tissues will have the same origin of the cells. So usually common function. Now let's classify the tissues, the two types of tissues here itself. So the tissues are basically classified into two types, and these two types means plant anatomy is nothing new for you, let me tell you, so that you will be relaxed in the remaining part of the video. Plant anatomy you have actually studied in your 9th class. Yes, 9th class tissues chapter is there, where you study both plant tissues and animal tissues, and you can see that the complete basic or almost 50 to 60% part is done in 9th section itself. So 9th you have already studied, so there is nothing new basic for you. It's just you need to revise and know a few more important points for the exams, right? So now you can relax easily, and we'll see the two types of tissues. The two types of tissues we have got is, the first one is meristematic tissue. Meristematic tissue, and the another one is permanent tissue. Another one is what? Permanent tissue. Here itself I'll be telling you what the meaning of these two tissues are, means what types of tissues are, what types of cell aggregations are known as meristematic, and what type of cell aggregations are known as permanent tissues. So guys, basically in plant there are few cells, means there are some cells which will divide continuously. Those cells which have division capacity, they will form the meristematic tissues. So meristematic tissues are made up of immature dividing cells which are dividing continuously. So let's write this point. So meristematic cells are made up of immature cells continuously dividing. Okay, they have the division capacity, continuously dividing. Just a minute. Continuously dividing. Not getting well. dividing. Sorry for the disturbance. Yeah. So the cells are dividing continuously, means a parent cell is there and it is dividing into two daughter cells. Now these daughter cells are further dividing into two more daughter cells like this. So continuous division is going on in such tissues. Such tissues are known as meristematic tissues. Now, apart from the meristematic tissues, we have the permanent tissues where now the cells are matured. If the cells are matured, means they lose the division capacity. The main difference between meristematic and permanent tissues is that meristematic tissues have dividing capacity, permanent tissues do not have dividing capacity. If there are 5 cells in the permanent tissue, the cells will remain 5, they will not increase in number. A cell can die, but that cell will not divide. Okay, now further about the permanent tissues and all we'll discuss later. So let's write the basic point and to see the comparison between two. So permanent tissues actually are the mature ones, means here they have mature cells and they are non-dividing cells, non-dividing. Now, non-dividing cells. Here itself, let me introduce you with a few terms that how the permanent cells, permanent tissues are forming or cells of permanent tissues are formed. We need to know that, right? So for that, you need to have few terms knowledge and those terms are nothing different. Okay, different, a related word is there, hence I use the word different. So first, there is a cell. Okay, this cell has the division capacity and this cell divides into two cells. Okay, now I am drawing the two cells with different color. This one red cell. This red cell is actually losing its division capacity, whereas the another green cell has its own division capacity, right? Now, the cell which has division capacity will keep on dividing, but what about the cell? The red cell which has lost the division capacity, This loss or losing of division capacity is done by the process which is known as differentiation. Differentiation. So remember this term differentiation. Further, you will get few more terms with linked with this word differentiation. Here I am giving you just one term. So differentiation means what? Differentiation means a meristematic or dividing cell becomes a cell with a permanent cell or non-dividing cell. Okay, so when the cell loses its division capacity from its when it loses its division capacity, we call it as differentiation. Clear? So I hope now you will not make any mistakes with this term and you are clear that how the cells are converting from meristematic to permanent. Cells simply lose their division capacity and they just fix with their own function. They say, I'm not going to form any new cell. I'm not going to convert into any other form. I'll be my own owner. I'll be doing my own functions. This is what the permanent cells are saying. Clear? So I'll rub this part just a minute. I'll rub the part of the cell division and complete. Okay. So here I'm rubbing because I have to draw the remaining flow chart also, means line diagram. So here we are done with the next level. We started with the cell. Cell we have started, means we'll study in the 11th portion again the plant cells and animal cells. So I'm not discussing in detail about the cells. I'll be moving to the tissues because tissues, then the further organizations on the higher level, those things are studied in plant anatomy. So tissues, we have seen the basic of tissues. Now the term tissue was given by the scientist which is named as Grew. The term was given by Grew, and tissues are of two types, that is permanent tissues and meristematic tissues. Very easy. Those who remember their 9th class, I know it is impossible to remember because it's been so long, but if you remember anything, then it will be much easier. So, tissues is done. Now, coming to the next level of organization, the basic one was cell. Cells were forming the tissues. Tissues are now going to form the tissue system. They are going to form the tissue system. Just like in we humans, we are made up of cells basically. Cells will aggregate to form the tissues. Sorry. Cells will aggregate to form the tissues. Tissues will aggregate to form the tissue system. Tissue systems will form the organ. Organ will form the organ systems, and organ systems will form the complete organism. Just like that, the same organization or levels of organization are seen in the plants also, guys. Nothing different. Okay, so you are familiar with these levels of organization. What is different is the names. Here, the tissues are different, tissue systems are different, then organs will be different, organ systems will be different, and the organism is of course different. We are talking about the plants. Okay, in the next chapter we'll talk about the animals also. So soon we'll be completing both anatomies for plants and animals, which are quite interesting actually. So tissue system, we have got three types of tissue systems, guys. The first one is, means we'll study them in the detail. Yes, we'll study them in the detail in my upcoming videos. The first type of tissue system is epidermal tissue system. Epidermal tissue system. The second type of tissue system we have got is ground tissue system. Ground tissue system. Okay, then the third type we have got is vascular tissue system. Vascular tissue. Okay, let me write system also with tissue system. Now, I'll just give you a hint about these tissue systems, else you won't be able to sleep without understanding. So, let's say this is one plant, okay, and I'm just taking its transverse section. So it is going to look somewhat like this. I'm going to draw that for you. Just give me a second. Okay. Just give me a second. Okay, so here we have got the circle because I wanted to draw an exact circle. So I used a shape actually. Now, the outermost layer is actually the epidermal tissue system. Here, now inner to that, they have the, means now I'm drawing, I'll change the color to show you the difference. Okay, so here we have got the next tissue system, the innermost one. This innermost one is actually the vascular tissue system. This is what? This is the vascular tissue system. And the tissue system present between the epidermal tissue system and vascular tissue system is completely known as ground tissue system. Now, what are the components? What are the tissues forming these tissue systems? Are they made up of single tissue? Are they made up of more than one tissues? We'll be discussing in my upcoming videos. So, I hope this part is clear. Now, coming to the next level of organization, that is from tissue system, we'll move towards the organs. Now, there is nothing left, nothing difficult left, nothing important. Like, everything important we know about the organs and organ systems because we have studied morphology. And when we complete tissues and tissue systems, we are already done with the anatomy of these organs and organ systems. Okay, so organs, if I say, then what are the organs of a plant? Like my organs are my hands, my legs and all. So in case of plants, what are its organs? Remember all the parts of the plants like roots, stems, leaves, flowers, fruits, everything are their organs. So let me make you a list. Okay, I know you all know about these organs because we have studied all of them in our plant morphology part. So if you haven't watched actually the plant morphology, I'll be sharing the link in the description box. You can easily find the link for the videos of plant morphology and study through them. Clear? So organs, what are they? The first one I've got for you is roots. Let's start with the roots and write them fast. Roots, then we have got the stems. Then what other we have got? We have got the leaves. Right? We studied, I don't know what I've written, leaves. Okay, then after the leaves, what are the other organs? Fruits. Apart from the fruits, we have the flowers and etc. But these are the common organs we know. No one is going to ask you what are the organs of the plant. Yes, till now no question has been asked. But for our basic knowledge, what if someone asks you that what are the organs or some related thing is asked? So you must know that these are actually the organs of a plant. Now, organs will now form what? The organs are now going to form the organ system. Organ system. And if you remember in plant morphology, the complete, I'll be drawing in this left topmost corner. This is the soil surface. Here the roots are present like this. And then we have got the shoot like this. We have got the shoot. So remember we drew the two types of systems. This is shoot system and this is root system. RS root system, SS shoot system. So organ systems are two. One is root, another one is shoot. The complete aerial part. Exceptions, the aerial roots are the exceptions, but the normal aerial parts are the shoot organ systems or shoot system. Now, this organ system will finally form the next level, that is the plant. So organ systems are going to form the organism. Here we are talking about the plants. So I'm going to write plants directly. But in general, remember the level of organizations in plants and animals are same. So guys, here on the screen, you have what you have to study in this chapter completely. And we will discuss these topics in my upcoming videos. Today we'll talk about the meristematic tissue. Okay, the first part of this chapter. Then we'll talk about the permanent tissues. Then we'll talk about the tissue systems. We'll even see the transverse sections of roots, stems, leaves, and we'll talk about the secondary growth. This chapter is very, very interesting, and you can even see the slides. Yes, they are. If you make the slides of the transverse sections in your schools or labs, then you can easily see the transverse sections also, guys. It's easy to make the slides too. So let's move towards the first type of tissue we have for today. That is the meristematic tissues. Okay, so let me put the heading first of all, then we'll talk about the meristematic tissues. Meristematic tissues. Remember what I told about the types of cells present over here. What are the characteristics of the cells of the meristematic tissue? Yes, characteristics of the cells of meristematic tissues are quite important. A number of times questions have been asked from the meristematic tissues cells properties. So let me tell you, the cells have very thin cell wall. Thin cell wall. Okay, first let me write in bracket dividing. Okay, these cells are dividing. So they will have the properties which will help them to divide. Okay, if they have to stop division, they will have those properties which will stop them to divide. But here the cells have to divide. So they favor the conditions, they favor the properties which help them in division. Then they have dense cytoplasm. So thin cell wall is there, means depositions on cell wall are not found here in this case. Cells are living cells. Then only they can divide. Then they have dense cytoplasm. They have prominent nucleus. nucleus. They do not have secondary wall present in them, no tertiary wall, they just have thin primary cell wall in them. So this is the basic features of the meristematic cells or the cells of meristematic tissues. Both are the same things. Now coming to the vacuoles, remember the meristematic cells do not have vacuoles, or even if they have vacuoles, they are very small in size. So if you have to choose between two, either they are present or absent, you say they are absent, because usually the vacuoles are absent. So we get another important point, that is vacuoles absent. Vacuoles absent. Clear? Because they don't have any function of storing or anything, because they are dividing continuously, so they do not have any prominent vacuole. Clear? Now coming to the classification of meristematic tissues, guys, we have got two kinds of meristematic tissues. We have got two kinds of meristematic tissues, and the first one we have is, okay, let me make the classification over here. So the first kind we have got is primary, and the second one is secondary, of course. No tough terminologies. Believe me, there is hardly any tough term in this complete chapter. There are rarely examples for you. What you need to remember is the arrangement of cells, arrangement of tissues, that's it, guys, and their properties, of course. Clear? So primary and secondary meristematic tissues are the two kinds of tissues we have got in the classification of meristematic tissues. Let's first talk about the primary meristematic tissues. So these primary meristematic tissues, there is one seed. Okay, this is one seed, and this seed has this cotyledon. Right? Now this cotyledon is going to germinate into the complete plant. It has this radicle which is going to form the roots, and it has this plumule. It has this plumule which is going to form the shoot. Now this top part and this top part, which is going to form the complete shoot system, means this one and this one I'm marking with red, it is going to form, this plumule part is going to form the shoot system, and the radical part is going to form the root system. Now how do they form the complete plant? Because these means the cells present in this part are meristematic, they divide continuously and they form the structure. Hence, the meristematic tissue which is present since the beginning, which is present from beginning, such meristematic tissues are known as primary meristematic tissues. Beginning means what? Beginning means when the seed starts germination. Okay, these tissues are not formed after the germination, they are formed with the germination, means when the germination is started. Now, coming to the secondary meristematic tissue, what are these secondary meristematic tissues? These types of tissues are formed in the lifetime of the plant, means they are formed later during the development from permanent tissues. Yes, now we get the new term. I'll tell you what is it. So these are formed later. I'll give you a simple example from which you can easily relate what is this primary one, what is the secondary one, why it is forming from the permanent one. You won't have to get confused at all. Secondary meristematic tissue formed later from, just a minute, formed later from permanent tissues. Okay, so let's say I'm just drawing a single cell, not naming the cell, nothing. I'm just showing you to explain you the thing. This is one cell. This cell has the division capacity. Okay, this cell has division capacity and it is forming two cells. It has formed two cells. Now, Out of these two cells, one will still have the division capacity. One will still have the division capacity, but another one will lose its division capacity and will form what? It will become permanent. Right? We have discussed till here before in this video itself by the process known as differentiation. Differentiation. Remember these things because these things will be used later in this chapter and they are important also actually. Now, what happens? Some of these permanent cells, means depending on their position where they are present, they sometimes regain the division capacity. I'm not saying all the permanent cells are getting division capacity. Some cells, depending on the position in the plant where they are present, where the division is needed, they regain the division capacity. They are gaining the division capacity. I'll draw it with the brown color to show that once they are permanent already, so they are not actually the original meristematic tissue cells. Clear? So they are dividing again. After becoming permanent, means losing division capacity, they regain division capacity, and this process is known as dedifferentiation. Dedifferentiation. Clear? So you need to remember what is differentiation, to get the permanent cells or to lose the division capacity. Differentiation means to lose division capacity. Dedifferentiation means to get division capacity. Now I'll give you one more term just to make you aware of another related term, that is redifferentiation. Redifferentiation. Now, these dividing cells which are formed by dedifferentiation, they again becomes permanent. Permanent means they will lose division capacity by the process known as redifferentiation. So this thing you get to study another time, means in the chapter which is there in the plant physiology part, that is growth and regulation of the plants. So there you study this part, but here also it is required. The terms are important in this chapter. So I have informed you about these all three terms, the complete procedure here itself. That time when you study the chapter of plant physiology, you will just have to revise the things, right? So here we are done with the primary meristematic tissues and secondary meristematic tissues introduction. We have to talk a bit detail about these two types of tissues. A bit detail, nothing much, nothing difficult. Okay, so let me tell you first about the primary meristematic tissues. Primary meristematic. All you need to do in this chapter is to link the things from starting to the end. When we'll talk about the secondary growth, we'll talk about the primary growth also, means we'll link the things. So it's very easy chapter, just you need to link up the things, and to link you have to keep the points in mind so that you won't forget, you won't miss anything. Primary meristematic tissue. Now, since these tissues are found already when the seed starts germination, we have three kinds of primary meristematic tissue. Number one is apical meristematic tissue. Now, I'm not writing the complete point. I'm just explaining what is this apical primary meristematic tissue, PMT. Wow, we got an interesting abbreviation. PMT is actually the word which was used before NEET. Okay, so PMT was the previous version of NEET exam. Now we'll come to the topic again. This is the soil surface and this is the shoot and these are the roots. Clear? Now, here at the tip point, some meristematic cells will be present or meristematic tissue is present at the tip. Clear? Now, these meristematic tissues are known as apical primary meristematic tissue. Now, if you add I here, it becomes AIPMT, another word used for this NEET exam, just like that PMT. You all might know or may not know, it's not an issue. So, it's just an idea to remember. And at the topmost part, means at the terminal position of shoot and roots, what is present? AIPMT is present. If you remove I, it becomes apical permanent meristematic tissue. Right? You will not forget the position. That's all you need to remember. Along with that, you need to remember the function of apical meristematic tissue. So, why the students give NEET exam? Why they appeared for AIPMT? To become doctors, right? To grow themselves, to develop themselves, to grow their career. So, this apical meristem helps in the growth of the plant. Since it is present primary, so it helps in primary growth, means to increase height. It helps to increase the height of the plant. Clear? This remaining part, it is not going to have the apical meristematic tissue. Only the tip of the shoot and the tip of the root after the root cap is going to have this apical meristematic tissue. Clear? Here we are done with the first type. So, apical meristematic tissue, we have got two. One is shoot apical meristematic tissue, another one is root apical meristematic tissue. Nothing difficult, right? As I've already told you about this. Second type of tissue we have means the primary meristematic tissue, that is axillary bud. Axillary bud. Okay, what is this axillary bud? I'll not draw in the same because it's already so much hodgepodge. I'll just draw it separately. This is shoot, let's say. Clear? Now, here, okay, let me draw it a bit smaller because I have to later on grow it. This is one shoot which is growing, and on this shoot there is this apical meristem present. Now, this apical meristem is going to help the shoot to grow like this. It is going to help the shoot to grow, and the apical meristem will reach to the tip here. Right? Now, if the apical meristem reaches to the tip, it means when the apical meristem reaches to the tip during the growth, it leaves some of its part in between. It is leaving some of its part in between, and this forms the axillary bud. Axillary bud, it is present at the nodes. Axillary bud is present what? Axillary bud is the cells or formed from the cells of apical primary meristematic tissue at the nodes. So let's write about the axillary bud. What are they? They are leftovers of APMT. Right, now we can learn this, like we can remember this abbreviation. Okay, leftovers of APMT at nodes. Now these axillary bud can form branches, flowers, anything. Okay, then we have got the third kind of primary meristematic tissue, and that is intercalary meristems. Intercalary meristems. Clear? Now, inter means it will be present in between of something, right? It's just a trick to remember. Intercalary meristems are the primary meristematic tissue which will be present between the two permanent tissues. Apical has got its topmost position. It is not getting bounded between two permanent ones, but the tissue or the meristematic tissue which is bounded by the two permanent tissues, it is known as intercalary meristem, and you need to remember one example, that is grass. The grasses have got intercalary meristems. Let me tell you how they are helping the grasses, why they are present in them. This is the ground, and let me draw the grasses with green color. It will give some feelings of the grasses, even though it's not that beautiful. Now, these are the grasses. Let's say some herbivore comes and it just eats off the topmost part of the grass. It is eating the topmost part of the grass like this. It is removed. The topmost part of the grass is removed. So what happens? The grasses need to grow again. They are not going to lose the hope. What they do, they have some intercalary meristems present over here. These intercalary meristems will help the grass to grow again in their length, and the grasses grow back like this. Because when the grass is eaten from the top by the herbivore, actually the apical meristem is lost because it is eaten. So who is going to help for the growth now? This intercalary meristem, which is present in the grasses, will help them to increase their length. Clear? Now, we are done with the three types of primary meristematic tissue, and you can see how easy it is. After completing this video, I don't think you need to learn anything. You just need to revise. You just need to go through NCERT, mark important points, important things, and done. Your chapter, your topic will be completed, because you're not completing the whole chapter in this video, right? So we are done with the first kind of meristematic tissue, that is primary meristematic tissue, and now we are going to talk about the secondary meristematic tissue. Secondary meristematic tissue. This is quite interesting tissue again, because it is secondary meristematic tissue, but it is quite complicated. It is going to be involved in the primary growth of the plant plus in the secondary growth of the plant also. Mostly secondary one. So let me tell you, the secondary meristematic tissues are formed later from permanent tissues. Yes, these secondary meristematic tissues are the lateral meristems. Lateral meristems. Lateral meristems means what? Present laterally. So let's say this is the ground again, this is the shoot. Now on this shoot, laterally some meristematic tissue is present like this, longitudinally, laterally. These meristematic tissues are known as lateral meristems, and what their function is, they help to increase girth. Girth, also known as diameter. Okay. Have you ever seen a tree growing from a seedling? Maybe or maybe not. So let me tell you, whether it is a monocot, whether it is a dicot, whether it is a herb, whether it is a shrub or a tree also, it always starts its life with a seed. We all know. And the seed germinates, a small seedling comes out, then the seedling grows, keep on growing, and one day it gets a certain length. It grows up to a certain age, then it starts increasing its diameter. Now it has become quite broadened. And it has become quite woody, brownish structure. Now the main stem is not green anymore. It becomes woody. This kind of thing seen is due to the lateral meristems, because if you see the initial diameter of a seedling, it will be very small, but when it grows, it becomes large. If lateral meristems are acting on it, it will increase the diameter or girth of the plant. Clear? So in detail about these secondary meristematic tissues, how secondary growth is done, we'll do later. Now, lateral meristems are further of two types, let me tell you. One is vascular cambium. Another one is cork cambium. Cambium is actually the meristematic tissue which helps for the secondary growth. how they are formed, where they are present, what they are doing, how they are doing, we'll study further in this chapter in my upcoming videos. So guys, this is all about the meristematic tissues. Now, primary lateral meristematic tissues, they are present on the margins of the meristem. Remember this point, they help in increasing the girth or diameter of the plant. In my next video, we'll talk about the permanent tissues and much more about this tissues in this chapter, which is required for you to know. So guys, if you like this video, please like, as I'm already said, share your views in the comment section, share the video with your friends, and subscribe the channel if you haven't subscribed it yet.